Hello, BookTube. So today you're just getting me, the Becky half of the Bookish Bryants. Well, and Link in his cone of shame. Poor little guy. For those of you who don't know Link, he had a little bit of an accident of some sort last week. He broke his jawbone right here. They don't know how. They think maybe he got his teeth caught on something and jerked away, or maybe another dog got him or something, but we don't know. But yeah, he's in this cone of shame for the next 2 weeks. Poor little guy. But we just wanted to say hi, and for those of you who do know, just show him that he's doing great. He's just a little undignified right now. Okay, you're going to get down, buddy. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. I want to do a romance video. So we all know New World's November is coming, and it's a whole great sci-fi event that's going to be happening over the month of November. And each week of November is going to be cut into 4 different genres of sci-fi, of science fiction. The first week is going to be aliens. The second week is robots and AI. The third week is time travel, and the fourth week is like dystopian or apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic nonfiction. Yeah, it's all post-apocalyptic, or post-apocalyptic fiction, and it all revolves around short stories, anything under 250 words. I am messing this up all over the place. 250 pages, 250 words. Talk about short fiction. But one thing that I want to do is I'm going to be reading a lot of romance that month because I can, and because it drives Scott barking mad. I mean, I'm here for that, right? But there's a great subgenre of romance, which is sci-fi romance, and it's all about aliens and time. There's some time travel and all of that, but today, I want to talk about some of the alternative romance that I've been reading lately. I've been reading a lot of... Hey, Bug, you gotta get down. You gotta get down. I know. I've been reading a lot of blue alien romances, and not all of them are blue. There's purple and green and gray. I've been reading a lot of alien romances and a lot of short story romances. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about some of them, and some of the ones that I really enjoy. Well, we'll start with the short story romance, because I've been reading a lot of it lately. I've been binging on it. I really have, because it's so much fun. And we'll end up with the alien romances. I wanted to do this week because, like I said, we're doing a sci-fi... Link, stop scratching. We're doing a sci-fi event in November, and sci-fi is not everyone's cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea, but I do enjoy some sci-fi, and I would really love to get some of our romance readers in on the sci-fi romance train to have something to read during New World's November. So this'll give you an idea, and Link, seriously. This little cone is just killing him. Everything that I'm going to be telling you about today is actually on Kindle Unlimited. Every last one of them is on Kindle Unlimited, and a lot of them are printed as well. So you have your choices. But a couple of months ago, I had been reading a lot of contemporary romances. Every time you hear clicking and scraping in the background, it's Link. He's scraping against like walls and corners. I think he does it on purpose. Anyway, but a couple months ago, I was reading a lot of contemporary romances, and with Kindle Unlimited, they do this thing that I really love. It's connected to your Facebook, and well, it's not really connected. It's just all the algorithms that are going around. They connect, and I'll be looking at my Facebook page and scrolling down, and I'll get you get those sponsored advertisements. I'll get sponsored advertisements of books that are similar to what I read, which is fantastic, because a lot of the books that I've been reading over the last like 5 or 6 months were suggested on Facebook. But I'd been reading a lot of contemporary romance, and I came across an advertisement on Facebook for a short story author, and she's a short story romance author. And the thing is, these short stories, they're usually about 30 to 60 pages, just enough to have a good meet, a good, what is it, meet cute or something like a good meetup between two characters, a good build up. There's always one sex scene at least, maybe two, and then a happily ever after. They're like candy. They're short, sweet, to the point. They give you the warm fuzzies that you always look for in any good romance book. And they leave you happy, and they leave you looking for more. So the series that I came across, the advertisement was for a story called Marshmallow. And it's by an author named Megan Wade. And the story itself is only about 50 pages. And it's about a young woman who is a social media influencer. She's a plus size model, and the author Megan Wade writes about curvy girls like me. So I'm here for it, man. But the story is about a young woman who she's a social media influencer who she models plus size clothing and how to live your life happy being a curvy girl. And she gets asked to model the front cover of a well-respected romance novelist, along with another social media influencer male model, who's just sort of the exact opposite of her. You know, he's the quintessential muscle-bound, ripped male model. And so, of course, nobody thinks anything's going to happen there. But I'm having trouble hearing you. That's because I wasn't talking to you. Shush. But he's been following her social media page since day one. Is her biggest fan. Is absolutely in love with her and is determined that she's going to be his. And this story, Marshmallow, I loved it so much. I loved every word that I read on that page. I love the character. I love the storyline. I love the pure emotion that went into it. And after that, I was hooked. That the author Megan Wade, she has a lot of stories in that series, the Curvy Girl series. And then from there, I went on to other authors like her. There's a website called Fantastic Fiction. It's fantasticfiction.com. You go to the website, you type in the author's name, and it'll bring up everything they've written in chronological order by series. And another thing that they do that's really great is at the bottom of the page, they'll bring up a list, like a 2-column list of authors who are similar to the one that you're looking at that point. So after I had read everything Megan Wade had written, all of her short stories, I came across another author named Jane Fox, who wrote a series called The Zaftig Dating Agency, which is you just sort of have to arrest your belief, suspend your belief, and go with the flow, because some of the things that this dating agency supposedly does are just sort of kind of impossible and just probably wouldn't work ever, but we don't care. So, so Jane Fox writes a Zaftig Dating Agency, and again, on Kindle Unlimited, you can get the box sets. There's like 60 books in this series. And what's fun about them is they all sort of follow a formula for sort of. Why are you doing this to me? They all sort of follow a formula, but the characters are so nice and different. The storylines are so nice and different. It's easy to sort of just push that to the back of your mind and not notice it. And again, read everything she ever wrote. And you have authors like there are many other short story authors like Liz Fox, Kate Tilney, Flora Madison, Lana Dash. All of those authors have very good short stories that are just so much fun to read. So if you ever find yourself needing needing to get away for like a good hour, these short stories are fantastic for that. They really deliver on the warm fuzzies. You know what I mean? The sort of the happy place, the glow you look for from a good romance story. Okay, so now let's move on from the short stories, because I could wax poetic about them all day, and talk about sci-fi romance. Now, I've promised Scott that I'll read a couple of straight up sci-fi stories that and I'm sorry, I've been working all day. I promised Scott that I would read some actual straight up run-of-the-mill science fiction stories over the course of next month. But mostly I'm going to focus on romance because I can. And when I started looking, I didn't figure there was really going to be any sci-fi romance. The two genres just never seemed to be compatible to me. But then I started looking at a lot of YouTube videos about romance, about sci-fi romance. And the first name that always pops up, almost invariably, is Ruby Dixon. Now, Ruby Dixon wrote a series of books called the Planet Barbarians books. And there's a subset of the books called the Icehome Series. And they're all part of the same series. And these books are magnificent. They're fantastic. They're so much fun to read. It's a series about a group of human women who are kidnapped from Earth by a horrible race of aliens who are intent on selling them in the slave trade, because apparently humans are a nice commodity in the universe. Why not? And as this group of human women are being transported, the alien ship that they're being kept in suffers a malfunction, and they have to drop the cargo hold that the women are being kept in onto what appears to be a deserted, a lifeless planet. It's an ice planet. And so the aliens who have kidnapped these women drop the cargo hold onto this planet, which is not compatible for well, it's compatible, but it's not survivable without certain like protective gear for these women. And they are the main woman from the very first book. She decides she's going to go out and see if she can't find shelter or find something to help them survive on this planet. And she is discovered, after she gets caught in like a snare, a hunting snare, she's discovered by one of the inhabitants of the planet. And they're called the Saqui, this alien races, and they're big, they're blue, they've got horns and tails, and they're fantastic. They're a barbarian race. They're just north of cavemen, if that makes sense. As far as like human evolution is concerned, they're sentient. They're very intelligent, but they're barbarians. They're hunter-gatherers. And the thing about this race is they all have this sort of, it's a symbiote, or they call it a symbiont. It's an alien creature that lives here in their chest that allows them to breathe the air of this planet. And it also promotes health. It promotes healing and all that. This symbiont does. And the biggest thing that it does is it recognizes a potential mate. This is a fated mate series, and a lot of these books that I'm going to be talking about are fated mates, because I like my fated mates books. It means they're two people who are meant to be together by destiny or by fate, whatever the case. And a lot of times it comes with insta love. The moment you meet each other, the moment these two people meet, they're in love. Or they're absolutely certain that they're going to be in love or be together forever. And I'm here for it. I like it. There's a great genre, not even a genre, it's a theme in books called Enemies to Lovers. Yeah, screw that. I hate those books. I hate books where the two characters start out just absolutely detesting each other and sort of evolve into love, because it's very, very rarely really, really well done. That animosity there towards the beginning, it drags me out of the story, and I can't bring myself to finish it. But anyway, the Planet Barbarians, there are fated mates books, and there are a lot of the books in this series do start out with they don't look at each other and say, yeah, I love you, we're going to be together forever. The women, they rail against the fated mate ideal at first, because, well, who wouldn't? But it's not like they're not stressed already after being abducted and dropped on an alien planet, and then informed that there's no way they're getting home. So it's the books are wonderful. The first book is sort of a straight up romance. There's that sci-fi element, of course, and there's a little bit of world building in there, but it's mostly romance. It mostly revolves around the relationship between the two main characters. But as the books go along, there's a lot of them. I think well into the 30s by now. As the books go along, the world building gets richer and stronger. And the culture of these alien races get richer and more interesting. And by now, the books are a little bit less about the relationships and more about this world and this just lush, green, and beautiful culture that is coming together on this ice planet. And I could not love it anymore if I tried. So I can't recommend Ruby Dixon's books enough to the romance lovers out there, especially if you want to read romance sci-fi or sci-fi romance. Which comes first? We're going to put romance first here. But a lot of these books are below the 250 page cutoff, so they're really good for New Worlds November, just so you know. So there are a lot of series out there that revolve around aliens. Let's see, here's one. A really, really good set of books that would be great for a beginner in this genre, well, in this subgenre of romance, is a series by Stop scratching, stop scratching, stop scratching, stop scratching. No scratching. No. Is a series by A.G. Wilde. And this series is an alien series. They almost invariably start with a group of human women being stolen from Earth, intent on being sold on the auction block. And this series, A.G. Wilde, it's the Riv's Sanctuary, R-I-V, Riv's Sanctuary series. And it's a trilogy. It's 3 books about 3 different aliens and the human women who love them. And they're wonderful. They're sweet. They're harrowing in some places. They're complex. And there's a great world built around this series. So if you find yourself wanting to get into the alien romance genre, that's a great place to start. That or Ruby Dixon. A.G. Wilde, Riv's Sanctuary, just so you know. Let's see, but there are a lot of authors of the alien romance. And again, if you go to Fantastic Fiction and look up Ruby Dixon and scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's like columns of books or of authors who are similar to her. And they're like people like, let's see, Lynnea Lee. She's got a couple of series like the Xarc'n Warriors and the Italian Mercenaries, which are really, really good. And I've read all of them. Tana Stone, let's see, where are we? Yeah, Tana Stone, Brides of the Drexian Warriors. That's a great series. This series is about women who are actually taken from Earth, against their, sort of against their will. They're taken from Earth. We'll just go with that. They're taken from Earth and they're taken to a space station where they're meant to be brides for these Drexian warriors these warriors have been protecting Earth from a nasty race of beings. And Earth, in response, has decided that these warriors can take women from their planet, women who have no ties to anyone. They don't have family or anything like that. So it's not traumatic to a whole wide group of people except for the girl. But the Earth has decided that they can take these women and take them to the space station where they will be given the choice of whether or not they want to be brides to these alien mates and to these alien races. And it helps that the aliens are tall, huge, built, and beautiful. And warriors and like female wet dreams, that kind of thing. So that's kind of a running theme in these books. They're tall, built, beautiful, and barbaric. I have no idea why that's so pleasing. Don't ask me. But then there's a series by an author named Honey Phillips who's writing this series they're called the Alien Warrior series, is like Children for the Alien Warrior, and it's all about women who they're usually single mothers who have been taken from Earth, and they're helped by this race of aliens called the Sira, who's like the entire female population of their race has been wiped out by a disease. And so they're sort of floating through the traveling through the universe, hoping for some way to repopulate their race. They're like through test tube babies and that kind of thing. And it turns out humans are compatible with this race of they're sort of reptilian, with this race of aliens. And the series is fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed here of late stories about single mothers or single fathers finding their forever love, that kind of thing, because they're so sweet. It takes a special kind of person to take on an instant family. You know what I mean? You take on it to marry into a family, to marry a person who already has a child. You don't find people who are that awesome nowadays, especially people who marry into these instant families and actually treat them like instant families. You know what I mean? And so any of those authors that I just mentioned, they're fantastic for New Worlds November. They'll be great for New Worlds November because most of them, they're novellas. Most of them are below the 250 word cutoff. All of them are on Kindle Unlimited, and a lot of them are in print. I know Ruby Dixon has just put several of her books into print. So there's no excuses. Oh, there's another series I wanted to talk about that. Oh, I love it. It's a series by Cara Wilde, C-A-R-A. Cara. I saw this series on Facebook. It was sponsored. It was suggested to me on Facebook. And it's called the Orc Mates. Now, these are not the orcs from J.R.R. Tolkien. These are actually interdimensional beings. They were pulled into our dimension by a machine that our scientists have created. And these orcs, they're a war-torn race. On their planet, there are two factions. There's one side and the other side, and they're constantly warring and constantly fighting. But suddenly, a large population of these orcs have been transported to Earth and have no idea what to do with themselves. So there's like a 2-year war during which the orcs tried to find their way on this planet and finally decided that they needed to try to assimilate into our culture. And they're so good. They're so good. The orcs are big and they're beastly and they're somewhat other, but they still have this very, very strong sense of honor, which is just fantastic to read. So if you ever get a chance and you feel like a good monster or alien romance, Kara Wild, the Orc Mates series, is fantastic. It's so good. There's only 4 in the series. I have no idea how long I'm going to have to wait for the next one, and I'm not waiting gracefully. I'm just saying. So I'll put the authors of everybody that I mentioned on the video today in the comments, just so everyone knows, and just so everyone will have the list in case you're interested. Because I would love to have some romance authors or some romance readers do sci-fi, do New Worlds November with us. Because how awesome would that be? To get some good romance readers with us, and maybe we can do a buddy read on one of the romances that one of the romance authors I just talked about. I think we should do something like that. Let me know if you'd be interested, and we'll come up with some ideas on what to read for that. But anyway, that's all I have to talk about today. I've digressed and waxed poetic and wandered off on weird little tangents, and now I'm done. Yeah, we're done. I'm going to go take a nap or something. Anyway, your books are calling. Go read.